Hello, travel staff and friends. Hey, thanks for being here today. If you're here today, you're here for one of two reasons. Either you're looking at getting into travel nursing and you're super excited and a little bit nervous. I get it. I know. I talk to people every single day. They're in your shoes and asking those questions. Or you're currently travel nursing. And this has got value for both of you. I'm Chad McDowell. I'm a travel nurse advocate and recruiter with Summit Medical Staffing. Ex-college volleyball coach and fitness professor for 20 years, turned recruiter. And one of the most rewarding things that I get out of my job is I feel like I act as an advocate and an educator, and I love to see people find success. And that's what I find rewarding the most. So what I want to do is I want to help you make the best decision for you, the right decision for you. Because I know as a new travel nurse, and I talk to new travel nurses all the time, every day, they're wondering, okay, so how do I make the transition? How do I quit my job? How do I know there's job security? Where do I look for jobs? How do I know to trust the recruiter and the agency and which one to pick? And all these questions in your head, I get it. And you don't know where to start. So I developed this course, and this is step 2. We're going to take it bit by bit by bit. And it's Travel Nurse 101, okay? If you want full access to the course, find my travel nurse or find my Facebook page, Travel Staff First. You can ask to join it there. You can email me at chad.mcdowell@summitmedstaff.com or friend me, message me on any platform on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok the most. Okay? And I can get you this by email. I can get you access to it in my Facebook group. But let's get started. Okay? So this is step 2. And again, you're trying to learn. I can get you from not knowing anything to getting your first job in this course for free. So in step 1, we talked about researching, getting on the phone with 3 different agencies, a large one and 2 medium-sized ones, figuring out what's important, different things like that. So what I want you to do is when you had that conversation with that recruiter, I want you to think back, did you feel like you had a connection with that recruiter on the other end of the phone? Okay? Because this is important. That's number 1, because I want you to get onboarded with the facility. That's the first step in step 2. But I want you to identify, did you have a connection? Did you feel like you could trust? And here's my key for this. Did you feel like the recruiter was listening? And did you feel like they cared? Like 2 things. Did they listen and did they care? Okay? And one way you're going to be able to identify this is, did the recruiter do all the talking on the phone? Because some recruiters like to hear themselves talk. Did they do all the talking and did they not hear what's important to you? Did they ask you questions? Okay, so every time I get on the phone with somebody, first thing I do is, tell me about yourself. I want to know about your experience and why you got into why you got into nursing. And what interests you in travel nursing? What are your goals? Tell me about your family. Tell me what you like to do in your off time and your hobbies, because that's going to help me identify where you want to go, where you want to be placed. Where do you want to get your first job? You know, what states, what radius, what's important to you? Do you have a family to consider and think about and kids? Is that recruiter asking you these questions? And if you feel like they weren't, that's a red flag, okay? And if they didn't listen to your answers and didn't feel like they cared, move on, okay? And you may like the company, but it may not be the right recruiter for you too as well. And I share that with my candidates as well, the people I speak to on the phone. I said, you know, if you feel like we are a good match at the end of this conversation, I'd love to work with you if we feel like we're a good fit, and I'll talk about the next steps. But that's the first thing. So once you feel like that and you talk to multiple recruiters and agencies, you need to get onboarded. That's the very first step. Okay, you can look for jobs all day long, but the travel market moves fast. And you need to have what we call, at Summit, we call it a profile. You need to have a profile built, which is essentially your resume, that we're going to submit to a facility to say, Jane Doe would like to submit for this medical, surgical, or ER, ICU, OR job, whatever. Please consider Jane for this position. And we feel like she's a great candidate. Here's her resume. Please consider her. Okay? So you need to get onboarded. What that means is, for Summit, it's pretty simple and it's pretty typical in the industry. You're going to do a few things. And it doesn't take very long. You're going to send me your resume. Okay? You're going to fill out an application with work history. That's going to take you 10-15 minutes. You're going to do a skills checklist, which is a self-assessment. It's going to take you about 10 or 15 minutes based upon your specialty. And then you're going to fill out a background release form, which takes you like 60 seconds. And that basically just allows us to run background checks on you for compliance purposes when you get hired at a facility. Okay? So in 30 or 40 minutes, you can submit all the paperwork you need to get onboarded with my facility. Okay? And then I need you to email me photos of your certifications. Some facilities require photos of like your BLS, ACLS, NIHSS, PALS, all that fun stuff, TNCC. And then photos of your driver's license. Some facilities require that. And a photo of your COVID vaccination card if you're COVID vaccinated. Okay? So again, it can be pretty quick. And then I work with you and I create this resume based upon the algorithms and the experience that we have, that we know managers are looking for, because they're looking at these resumes quickly, they're scanning, they want to see what's important, they want to see the highlights, and they want to move on. And we've mastered that. Okay? So get onboarded with minimum of 1 to 2 agencies. That's the first step. Because again, if you find a job you like, and then you got to put all the paperwork together, and then we got to submit that job might be taken, because jobs move fast in the industry. So searching for jobs is a little bit irrelevant before you actually are onboarded with an agency. Okay? Now, I can move as fast as you can. I've built profiles in 24 hours, but only if the nurse is working as quick as I am. Plus, I do have to chase down references. Okay? So I need 2 references within the last year that you've worked with, and one of them needs to be a supervisor, charge nurse, manager type. The other one can be a colleague in most cases. Some require managers for both, okay? But I physically have to call them, text them, email them, and get that reference. So if that can't happen in 24 hours, then it still prolongs the process, okay? But get that profile built with 1 to 2 agencies, so when you find a job, you can pull the trigger, submit for it quickly, and get in the door. Because it's speed to market in this game. That's the key. Okay. Second, save all that paperwork. You did it once, save it. Save your resume, save your certification card, photos, save a photo of your driver's license, your COVID vax card, okay? And then the next time when you need to submit to another agency or get onboarded, all you have to do is the application, the skills checklist, and the background release. That's if you're with us. But you have all that other stuff ready, you can just email it to that recruiter. You have it on file, no stress, right? So get organized. That will be helpful, okay? Then think about this. Do you have any time off requests, okay? Back up a little bit. When do you want to start? And this is a question I ask everybody. When are you thinking ideally you'd like to start? Are you thinking to start a month, 2 months, 3 months, 6 months out, a year from now? When are you thinking is a good time, the best time for you? And the earliest that we can get anybody placed is 3 weeks out, because it takes about 3 weeks to go through compliance. Because we're going to work, once you get an offer, we're going to work with that facility and we're going to take you through compliance. We're going to do background checks and vaccination records and all that fun stuff. And it takes about 3 weeks. So the earliest I can get anybody placed is 3 weeks, typically. So think about when would you like your start date to be, okay? And have that in mind and work with your recruiter. And obviously that can fluctuate and that can change, okay? Next, do you want any time off requests? You need to put that in your profile. When I submit a nurse for a position, I'm saying start date of February 27th, like right now, February 27th or later, and I'm saying, and she would like these requested time off. And it's a good thing to put that in there, because then we can require that. In the contract, they know up front, you want these 5 days, 4 days, 7 days off. Don't ask for more than 7 days. Most facilities won't accept it. And some facilities won't accept less than or more than 5. So work with the recruiter, develop a strategy for time off. And I've got other philosophies on time off too, okay? Do not, once you've made this decision to get onboarded with a agency, and to start submitting for jobs, which we're going to talk about next, do not put in your 2 weeks notice and resign from your job, your staff job. Okay? Do not. I've had nurses ask me that. Okay, so I put in my notice? I'm like, no, wait till you get an offer and you sign that offer. Once you sign that offer and you're committed, you should feel safe at that time to put in a 2 weeks notice. And since we're getting 3 weeks to get through compliance, you have enough time. If your facility requires 4 weeks notice, we can negotiate that start date 4 weeks out and give you that cushion. But do not quit your job until you get an offer and you sign that offer. Okay, work with the recruiter to make sure you are organized for that step. That's a big step. Okay? All right. Next, plan ahead for contingencies. Okay? In travel nursing, here's some things to think about. All right? So you may need to put money down as a deposit for housing because you're going to go somewhere else. You're going to find housing, and you may need to put a deposit down, maybe first month's rent, whatever, for housing, if you choose to go that route. There's lots of different routes for housing. We're going to talk about that later. But if you need a deposit, you might want to plan ahead and save up some money so you can do that. Okay? Secondly, when you start your contract, you don't get paid for 2 weeks because you're going to work that first week. All right? You're going to submit your time card on that Saturday, Sunday. We submit time cards. Okay, so they're going to work that first week, and then I reach out to my nurses and say, okay, it's time card reminder day. On Saturday, I send everybody a time card reminder, and then they submit their time card Saturday or Sunday. Okay, then they're going to get paid next Friday. So when you first start, you're going to work a week, submit your time card, work another week, and get paid, and then you're paid every week. But those first 2 weeks, you're not going to get paid. Okay, so I might need money for deposit, and I'm not going to get paid for 2 weeks. So I need to think about that. I need to have a contingency plan. I need to save some money. All right. Last one is, what if my contract get canceled? Okay, heaven forbid. It does happen. It doesn't happen very often, and we'll talk about it. But facilities can cancel you in the middle of a contract if census drops and patients drop, and they want to save some budget. They might cancel your contract in the middle of your contract, which means all of a sudden they may do it immediately, or they may give you 2 weeks and you're done and you're finding a job. You're looking for another job, but you're not getting paid at the moment, right? Okay, so plan ahead, save some money for those moments. Now, travel nursing should be lucrative enough so you make money, but before you start that first one, save some money for that contingency. Again, it doesn't happen very often, but it can, and we can talk about that later. Lastly, for some job security, have a PRN situation set up back home, like a per diem or a PRN situation. So some nurses will come back home every month or every month and a half. They might come back once, 2, 3 times during their 3-month contract and put in a few shifts, PRN back home at their hospital, to keep that relationship going. Whatever the policies are at your hospital back home, but it's a good idea. Because let's say you get canceled, go back home, pick up some PRN shifts, and you're not worried about not getting paid anymore. Now you have some job security with a per diem or a PRN situation back home, maybe with that hospital or with multiple hospitals. Lots of nurses have this in their back pocket to help with some of the insecurities and unknowns in travel nursing, because it can be lucrative, but there's some risks because you're not always guaranteed that job forever for that whole 13 weeks. A facility can cancel. All right, so that's step 2. All right, again, if you want access to this course, comment in this post wherever you saw it. Find me on any social media platform, Facebook, TikTok, Instagram are the best. Join my Facebook group called Travel Staff First. I can give you full access there, or shoot me your email in this post and I can get you on the email list, whatever. Okay, thank you for what you do. I have so much respect for what you do in the medical field. It is so important. It's a grind, and it would be something very challenging for me to do, and it's super humbling because you're skilled and you're important and you're appreciated. And I hope you find a agency and a recruiter that feels the same way. So if I get the opportunity to work with you, thank you. Thank you for what you do. Keep being awesome, and we'll see you next time for step 3.